Oh, is that the end? Where does that go?
Came through there for nothing. Nowhere.
Nowhere. Ah.
Man, we had to hit that rock again.
So where does the track go then?
Must have been to the right.
See, I have
Maybe it wasn't that way at all.
I have a real bugbear with Heema right now.
After a recent trip where I was plagued with problems with electronic maps, I made this video.
And my problem with Heema, yes, they make fantastic maps, but I'm having all sorts of trouble with their maps on this trip. On my phone, when so on my phone, let me show you. So I've got Heema Maps on here, but when I zoom in, you'll see that the screen goes grey. I've downloaded all the maps, I've got all the detailed maps of this area, but when I zoom in it goes grey. It loses the detail, so it doesn't display anything. So I don't get much detail on here. On the other Heema map, if I open up the other app, which is the new Heema Maps, I get white. So there's no maps at all. It shows the points of interest, shows the dot where I am on the map, but it doesn't show me anything else. It's just hopeless. So, and then the Heema Navigator, well, that seems to be a little bit off the actual track, so I don't know what the hell's going on. And I've got the same problem with that. I zoom in and then it just goes grey. So, having awful problems with maps.
I finally worked out what was wrong.
The place where we stopped for coffee, it was high enough to get 1 bar of reception. So I used that to my advantage and I had a look at the Heema Maps software. And even though I downloaded detailed maps at home, those maps disappeared as soon as I went offline. And so because I now had reception again, I found some very detailed offline maps. I had to pay $60 to Heema for the privilege, but I managed to download it, and I downloaded Victoria, so I've got detailed maps of this area now. And now that we're offline again, it's still working. So I fixed up Heema Maps, $60. Oh well, at least I've got the maps, so I'm not complaining. And now I can see that the track is rated as difficult in front of me. We've loaded up with firewood, and yeah, let's go find a camping spot or another track. Let's see what lies ahead of us.
At the end of this trip, here are my thoughts about navigating using both paper and digital maps. Well, good morning, guys. I'm sitting here on the banks of the Murray River. It's an absolutely beautiful morning. We've just finished about a week of exploring the Vic High Country, and it was an absolutely wonderful trip. Now, the way to explore the High Country, if you're going solo, is by using a map. You always need to carry detailed maps of the High Country or anywhere you're going. It's very important to carry maps with you. Even if you're following somebody else who does know the route, they should have maps, whether it's the paper maps or the electronic version. I prefer to take both versions just in case. I also have a Heema Navigator in the car that has the version 1 of the Heema Maps on there, and I've got both version 1 and version 2 on my phone, and as a backup, paper maps. So today's trip, we're going to go from Omeo. I've just hit the Benara Road, and that is sealed road. I love the ability on digital maps to keep zooming in for ever-increasing amounts of detail, but you just can't beat a paper map to give you a sense of scale and perspective.
And Tom Grogan, and then up to Thredbo, Jindabyne, and back towards Sydney. So that we're basically slowly making our way back towards the New South Wales side of the Snowy Mountains area.
It's super important to know how to use your maps to locate where you are and to determine what the track is like ahead. There's a myriad of tracks in the High Country, and it is so easy to get lost. So the paper maps are a good backup to have. I like to use the electronic version, so the Heema Navigator and the Heema app on my phone. The downside of only having the digital versions of the maps is they can lose comms with the satellites. Now, these devices need a minimum of 3 satellites in order to triangulate your position, and most of the time they'll pick up 4 or 5 or 6 satellites. But the high country being very, very mountainous, very, very heavily forested, it's easy for them to lose connectivity with the satellites, and so they drop connection and you don't know where you are. So it's very, very easy to lose track of where you are. So I do recommend carrying paper maps as a backup. If you're travelling, know the name of the track that you're on, observe the names of the tracks that you cross as you intersect other tracks, so that you can at least look on the paper map and have a rough idea of where you are. Now, with the electronic maps, you get a couple of options that you don't have on paper maps. One of those is you can track where you've been. So I'm using my Heema Explorer. I'm just going to record my screen and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so you're seeing this on the screen now. So you can see here the dark lines is what I have recorded in my travels. So you can see that I can see exactly where I've been, and there's been a number of occasions where we've gotten to an intersection and I wasn't sure which way to turn, so I turned down a random track, and I wanted to see which way the arrow on the map is taking me, so I know which way I'm going. And then I realised, oh, that's the wrong way, let's go back. And then me and my partner were saying, oh no, you came up that track. No, I came up that track. But if you turn on the it's called the cookie trail, essentially it tracks your route, and that way there's no arguing. You know exactly where you've come from and you know where you're going to. The other good thing about tracking your route is you can backtrack all the way out of the area that you've been in, so you can't get lost. So it's a very, very good idea. So I use the Heema version 1 maps to keep a track of where I've been, and I just let that run in the background. And then I prefer to use the Heema 2 maps, because the Heema 2 maps are vector-based maps. So the Heema version 1 maps, they're like a photograph of a paper map. You can only zoom in to a certain level, and after that you just don't have any more detail. Whereas the Heema version 2 maps, because they're vector maps, they're based on data points, and so you can zoom in all the way as right up to the meter precision. And so it will show you everything from contour lines to the ratings of tracks, whether they're easy or medium or difficult, and warning signs on the tracks. So let me just show you an example of what I've done over the past week. So you can see on the screen here I have placed waypoints. All these little balloons that you're seeing on the screen, they're all waypoints. And the way that I navigate is, if I want to get from A to B, then I will look at the map and I will zoom right in, and every place that there is an intersection, I will have a look at that, and I will go, okay, well, what's the weather been like? Do I take the easy track, or do I take the medium track, or is there a difficult track? And I can choose, and I can put a marker, a waypoint there, so that when I arrive at that marker, then I can look up the track and go, okay, I need to turn left here instead of right, because turning right is the difficult track, turning left is the easy track. So this is especially important. The other night we had a huge downpour, and the risk there was some of the tracks might be really, really steep, really, really slushy, could be dangerous. So we decided to choose the easiest tracks out of the area we were in, and so this becomes very, very important for navigating your way out of an area where there are warnings. Like up on the screen right now, you can see there's a warning sign that says track overgrown, there's a difficult track. It is just, you need to learn how to navigate using Heema Maps, because in the high country, where there's a myriad of intersecting tracks all over the place, without proper navigation, you're going to get lost. So that's just some tips on how to navigate the high country using both paper maps and electronic maps. So if you're going to the high country, guys, please always take a map, take your electronic maps, know how to use them, and enjoy. Thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoy the content on this channel, please consider supporting the channel by going to forexadventures.com.au. You can buy merchandise, or you can make a one-off or recurring donation, and every cent goes into creating more fantastic content for you. So once again, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.